Hey there, friends, and welcome back to another 3-Minute Thoughts. My name is Derek, and in the next 3 minutes, we're going to take a look at Numbers chapters 14 and 15, but we're also going to add in Psalm 90. These kind of the way the chronological thing works out is we have to embed some of the Psalms and other chapters in the midst of our normal readings. All right, so Numbers 14 and 15 and Psalm 90. Numbers 14 is where we see fear win the day, and it costs Israel tremendously. After hearing the spies' report, the people fall into panic. They think, if only we had died in Egypt. Can you imagine being in that type of despair? They even consider choosing a new leader to take them back to Egypt. Joshua and Caleb, however, plead with them to trust God, but the people respond by picking up stones to try to kill them. That's when God finally steps in a pretty miraculous way. He tells Moses he's ready to wipe Israel out and start all over again, but Moses intercedes, pleading for God's mercy. God forgives, but there are some consequences. Essentially, everybody who's 20 years old and older will die in the wilderness, so their children will inherit the land instead after 40 years of wandering. And then we move into chapter 15. God is going to now shift his focus back to hope and restoration. Despite their failure, their fear, and all the other things, God outlines he reminds them of when they eventually enter the promised land, what it's going to be like. This shows that God's promise stands even when we fail. The chapter also reinforces obedience with this massive shift or this massive story of a man being put to death for breaking the Sabbath. It's a pretty important thing. We're called to be obedient even to the smallest rules that we think are insignificant. God has them there for a reason. So then God also brings in this piece here in chapter 15 where he has them tie a blue tassel to their garment. This is a visual reminder for them to follow him faithfully. So then if we flip to Psalm 90, Psalms is the book of prayers or the worship book for the Bible. So here Moses offers this poetic reflection on human frailty, their failures and fears, and how God is eternal in his nature. He's going to contrast God's infinite power with our brief and fragile lives. Moses here acknowledges Israel's sin and suffering, yet pleads for God's compassion, exactly what we saw happening in Numbers 14 and 15. The psalm ends with this wonderful thing: establish the work of our hands for us. Yes, establish the work of our hands. It's a reminder that only God can give Israel and us lasting meaning. All right, that's where we're going to end things today. Be well, friends.